Welcome, Dave. Welcome, Vanessa. You guys are fast. I am Aaron, and welcome to the Call to Cinema. Before I start today's video, which we're going to talk about portmanteaus, or otherwise known as horror anthologies, um, I have to give a special big shout out there to the Crimson Cult, the my Patreon supporters, and to let you know that we did something really special over on my Patreon channel. Something that I'm super excited about, and that is I pretty much took up the entirety of this day to do this too. Me and my better half decided to sit down and watch the full L. Adamson Dracula versus Frankenstein all over again. We scrapped our initial kind of just short 10-minute review that we did of the film, and we decided that we were going to do a live commentary, basically a whole watch through the film. So if you are if you're on there, you can just watch us like talking about the film as we watch it, or if you've got the L. Adamson set, you can queue it up and watch it while you listen to us talk about the film, and you can watch it with us together. It was something new and something different for that, and we want to keep delivering special stuff for our patrons there. So if you're not a Patreon subscriber and that interests you, definitely check it out because I think it's gonna be fun. Hey there, Jason. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun, and hopefully you guys are gonna like it a lot because we plan to hopefully in the future do more of those. Although they take a lot more time, uh, it's labor of love, and it's something that we want to be able to give back. Hey there, Vanessa. Vanessa just today, by the way, was on Cinema Dave's channel, um, and they did a video together, which I got to watch tonight. Actually, I haven't got a chance to see it yet, Vanessa, but I can't wait to see it because Cinema Dave does these kind of these Sunday live videos in the morning. They're really cool to sit back and watch and listen to. He interviews some great people. Uh, he interviewed Vanessa, who was one of the superstars when it comes to this stuff. She also did an amazing interview with Daisuke. Um, so I know it's going to come off really good. And Cinema Dave is a really smart, intelligent guy. So make sure if you have not checked that out, check that out. Um, as always, like I mentioned before, make sure that you check out Just to This podcast, Pure Cinema. Make sure that you check out Daniel's Cobwebs podcast, and added on to that list is VHUS podcast as well, which is actually really pretty cool. And so I'm slowly finding new podcasts that I'm listening to and I'm starting to like. And as I do, I'll let you guys know because there's some really good ones out there. And tonight we are talking about the anthology films. We're going to go back to like the original anthology film. Well, one of the original anthology films. We're going to talk about a lot of different type ones. Hey there, Brian. And he also has, by the way, I just mentioned your podcast channels, but Just to This is no longer just Brian's melodic voice that you hear, but it's also now you can see Brian like in person in on Just to This YouTube channel where he makes some really cool stuff. And I watched the Scream Factory one recently. If there's a third one up, let us know because I kind of on the new video tomorrow. So new video tomorrow. If you're not subscribed, make sure you're subscribed because I know you like the Just to This podcast, and a lot of you found me through that. So welcome. Also, please let me know what you think the format for the Crimson Cult people. Make sure you let me know what you think of the format of the new video that I did. It's the very first time I did something like this. It's my first kind of commentary with my better half. We were super stoked to do it, and we found other stuff, uh, like right away, like just by watching the film again. We found out stuff, and if you watch right on to the third, if you go to the third part, because it was done in three parts, because it's a 91-minute film. Um, she says some really interesting stuff, and she gets like a revelation about like what the film means, which is actually really cool. So if you haven't checked that out, please make sure you check that out. Um, watch and like, share, subscribe, and if you can do it, check my Patreon because we're putting a lot of new content out there, and there's even more coming out in the next week or so. So it's going to be loaded with extra stuff. So if you like this content, you're going to love that stuff, and you get to see my better half, who's way better looking than I am. So there we go. All right, now into anthology films. I'm a huge fan of anthology films. I always have been. It started when I was actually very young, and I would watch a lot of these anthology shows that would come on, whether it be Alfred Hitchcock Presents, The Twilight Zone, Boris Karloff's Thriller, um, Tales of the Unexpected, with that cool like that Dead Marionette song, that da 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 da, that one. So I love that. I love the way that those were done. I utterly adore them. Outer Limits, I found out later on. Night Gallery is another fantastic one. That led me into the anthology film. I think the first one that really caught my attention back in the day was a little film by the name of Dr. Terror's House of Horrors, which I was too young to know then, but was by Amicus, who was kind of known for that thing. But it got me searching on other ones as well, and I would eventually come into a whole. It would become a whole like obsession of mine as a writer when I was like, and as a kid when I used to just write stories for my for basically for myself for fun. I would fill up exercise books filled with short twist ending little anthology stories that would actually make their way around my high school at the time. I'm not even joking; they really did. Uh, so I guess that should have been a sign there, but I was still bitten by the acting bug. So writing did not come to play. That was just for my own pure fun and amusement. But the one of the I haven't actually I you know something, Vanessa? This is because I was a dumb kid. There's one story that I really liked that I wrote, and it was called Bonfire Night, and it was different, and it was like a lot of stuff. Right? It was kind of twisted and messed up and horror. That's kind of what I did. Uh, so there was this girl, and we were talking a lot. You know where the story's gonna go, right? And she and we would like get on the phone and talk like all night long. And eventually, like to just to kind of be nice, kind of impress her, I guess I ended up giving her like gifting her that story. And after that, I went away for a bit to college, and when I came back, they had my room redecorated, and accidentally, unknowingly, had thrown away the exercise books that had my short stories in them. So, yeah, that's what happened, Vanessa. I wish I still have them. I remember writing one about a God, what was it? It was on a plane, and it had this one of those two-story planes that you only find in movies. Um, but it was a werewolf story, and there was a twist with who the werewolf was at the end. I remember I wrote that was in grade eight, I guess. You're mentioning some really great anthology ones there. Uh, I got to open up my here so I can see the messages that as they come in. Some of the stuff I got here and I just haven't brought over yet, so we'll bring them over eventually. But I do have like a handful of like my some of my favorite anthology films right here right now. From Whisper to a Scream is always going to mean a lot to me, not just because of what it is, but because it's one of the first after midnight. Brian, actually, I like After Midnight. That's the one with Marge Helgenberger from CSI. I think if I remember correctly, but the teacher, right, the fear teacher, psychology teacher. Yeah, that's I got to rewatch that one. Dead Time Stories. I'm iffy on Dead Times. I kind of like it sometimes, and then I don't like it sometimes. Um, but what was I about to say? I forgot. I forgot. I did. Friends don't let other friends do bad accents. So, but it definitely has a neat premise. So let's start off with one of the OG anthology films, and one of the ones that scared me when I was a kid. We'll get to Three Extremes. That Dumplings Man one. That's pretty messed up. There's a Three Extremes too, as well, by the way. But we'll start right here. This is Dead of Night, and it is a done in the UK. This is an anthology film that I that kind of freaked me out. It's done differently, and this is they have a special kind of twist ending when it comes to the. Oh, Vanessa, have you not seen Dead at Night? Dead at Night. This Vanessa, this is the OG. This is the one that kind of helped start it all. There was like silent films that are like we're kind of anthology like. But as far as the newer anthology ones, this is one. You know, Vanessa, when you see in those films, uh, where they have the ventriloquist and the dummy, and the ventriloquist kind of believes that the dummy is kind of talking on his own, doing his own thing. So that comes from here. Dead of Night was done back in 1945. That is, I think that's Michael Redgrave. I'm not quite sure. This is actually got a damn good cast. Michael Redgrave, Johns is in this one. Roland Culver, Basil Radford. But yeah, if you Googie Withers. So if you like horror anthologies, this kind of started out. If dummies creep you out, hey there, Chris, you awake? Hey there, Amy. So if dummies creep you out, this one is sure to creep you out. If you saw Magic with Anthony Hopkins, uh, then yeah, this and thought, hey there, welcome, Dirk. This one's gonna be right up your alley. This was put out by Studio Canal. As for special features, there's a really really good one, one that truly stands out and might make you want to like hunt down this video, because there is a 75-minute making of, like kind of like, well, remembrance of, I guess, remembering Dead of Night on here. So not only do you get the film itself, which has some really cool stories, including this extremely creepy one right here, with Michael Redgrave as a ventriloquist and his dummy. So, but there's a 75-minute basically look back at Dead of Night, letting you know its place in history, the film, the people behind it. It's a really good, and I definitely recommend it. So if you don't have Dead of Night, I definitely recommend you check this out. Welcome, Richard. We just started the anthology portion of it, so you came in right on time. So Vanessa, I have another one for you. There you go, Dead of Night. Start writing it down. But like I mentioned before, this started it. This started my love of anthology films. Dr. Terror's House of Horrors, which, if you like heard that title nowadays, you'd be like, what exactly is that? So, but this is an incredible anthology film, one of the best, one of the greats, with one of the greatest, most iconic wraparounds of all of these here. As for a cast, you get Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, um, Donald Sutherland, directed by Freddie Francis, written by Milton Subotsky, of course. So this is an Amicus film, and so many others. Roy Castle is in this one here as well, and this is really really good. This one was put out by, I think it was by Screenbound in the UK. So it's put out by Screenbound in the UK, but don't worry, this is a region-free release. It is an ABC release right there. There is a 60-minute making of, kind of like featurette, like talking about the film, that was done in the UK by Nucleus Films. Of course, Screenbound, so it's Nucleus Films. So I'm not sure if that 60-minute thing carried over to your edition, but this one here had a 60-minute like behind the scenes, like talking about the film and its place as well. Worth checking out. What worth looking for. This initially came out, Brian, as a steelbook edition, but it later got like a standard release. I think a standard release came out around the same time. I was in London at the time that this one came out. Hey, Dirk, welcome, man. I mentioned your podcast, by the way, at the beginning of this video, which all you guys should be checking out. Dirk does VHUS, and one of the podcasts that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. So make sure you guys are checking it out along with Brian. So remember, VHUS, just the discs, Pure Cinema, Cobwebs. Those are four right there. Four quality podcasts that you can listen to anytime. So keep making the good stuff, guys. This this one is amazing. If you're here at the beginning, Brian, you would heard me talk about you then too. uh, Dr. Terror's House of Horrors is amazing. I love this. I love every story in this one here. One of my favorite is like there's an artist and like he loses his hand. There's one about this girl. She marries this guy. She marries this guy, and there's she may or may not be a vampire. Really cool twist at the end of that one. I really like that one. Overall, though, this is an excellent like anthology. So if you and this is the disc apparently to get when it comes to Doctor Terror's House of Horrors. I think that the steelbook edition of this is sold out. At the time, I didn't buy many steelbooks. I didn't even look for it. No, you're welcome, Andy. You're doing great stuff. But with an hour long, I guess for lack of a better word, we'll call it like a retrospective on the film. It's definitely worth checking out. Here's one I haven't watched in a long time, but it fits the criteria. So if you guys know this one better than I do, feel free to talk about it. Um, I want to make sure you guys don't stay quiet here. And this one had three directors for horror, one that you probably wouldn't expect. It's got Louis Malle, Roger Vadim, and Federico Fellini. And that would be this one right here, Spirits of the Dead. Three Tales of the Macabre by Edgar Allan Poe. It's a fun one with a really great cast. Bridget Bardot is in this one, right? Alain Delon. Oh, I can see right here now. I should have looked in the first place. Jane Fonda, Terrence Stamp, um, Peter Fonda. Incredible cast on this one. There's like a different artwork on here. I'll show you because it's kind of neat. And he had like a really good, really thick booklet for this one. Classic Edgar Allan Poe picture. So, see tonight. Tonight I'm going to bring you some deep cuts. I'm going to break Vanessa's pocketbook. Does Nice. Okay, AME had filmed a conversation with Dice K today, so make sure you check that out as well. There's so much good content on here now. You got a Cinema Day Vanessa collaboration. You got an AME Dice K collaboration. You Just like we have a wealth of movies that we can collect right now. There's a wealth of content online. Whether you listen to podcasts or coming on here on YouTube, or you're one of the people that have jumped onto my Patreon. Not too late. Just spent over an hour and a half doing a commentary on there. Definitely check it out. Spirit of the Dead. I actually really like this film, but I'll be bluntly honest with you, it's not one that I am remembering as well as I do certain other ones. But certain ones like really stuck out in my mind because I remember them from my youth, and that was a long time. When dinosaurs and stuff were around. My youth. All right. So next up is one by Indicator, which I'm sure if George was here, you'd be totally like stoked about, because George is pretty much the king when it comes to like getting the Indicator stuff. That is going to be a really interesting interview. I got a lot of stuff queued up to watch now. Torture Garden. Yes, it's another Amicus one because Amicus just does it really well. Um, with a great cast. They always have great casts. And because basically, since they only have a short time to film, they probably didn't have to pay them as much because they're only there for like a day or two filming. They could like load the cast up. Oh yeah, another one with Cushing. But not just Cushing, Amy. We got Jack Palance in this one here. Burgess Meredith as Dr. Diablo. Beverly Adams. Directed again by Freddie Francis. Uh, Written by Robert Bloch. And as for like feature wise, this one's pretty low. It's an Indicator. Indicator stuff is loaded with features. That's kind of what they do. It's their thing. Uh, they're Kubrick's not going to like this, but I'm going to say this. They're kind of taking over as the film school in a box. I'm gonna say it. I know. I know. Don't hate me, but it's kind of becoming true. Quicksilver Highway. I got that one on DVD here somewhere, Dave. Actually, I remember that one. That was kind of fun. Indicator is such a good boutique label that does not get enough credit. They really don't, and they do such amazing stuff. And they've gone like above and beyond with their releases. So here are just some of the features on. Now this was an early release, so this may not be a stack to some of the other ones. But on here you get a two versions of the film. By the way, there's a 93-minute original theatrical cut and extended 100-minute TV cut of the film. You get the Guardian interview with Freddie Francis, which, by the way, runs 77 minutes long. Just so you know, I find these Guardian interviews utterly fascinating, and they're becoming one of my favorite features on any release. There is a production supervisor, Ted Wallace, talks about the film. Ramsey Campbell talks about Robert Bloch. Fiona Sabatsky talks about Milton Sabatsky. Kim Newman does an appreciation, a 25-minute long appreciation of the film. English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing, which I think is very, very important. An exclusive 36-page booklet when this edition was out. I love Cat's Eye, actually. Cat's Eye is a personal favorite of mine. And I actually do like Dead Time Stars. It's just one that I haven't seen in a long time, and I really got to check that again. So look, just like the booklets that Indicator puts into their stuff. I mean, well done, well written, well researched booklets. This one here, we got like the Torture Garden and the Amicus House of Horror. Good old Burgess Meredith there, done by Laura Main. We have Milton Sabatsky and Amicus Productions, where basically it's an interview with Milton Sabatsky. And then there's an article on Robert Bloch and Amicus. Thank you, Chris. I'm glad I was able to steer you right so far. One of these days, you'll be like, I can't believe I listened to him in that film. But trust me, they're fun stuff. Planting fright seeds, promoting Torture Garden. Hey there, Rye Guy. Welcome, man. And I love the fact that they have like the artwork on the inside there as well, and they'll show like the gimmicks, because literally that's it. That was the Torture Garden gimmick. It was that you would go to the theater and you get like seeds, like fright seeds. And you were supposed to like put the seeds out at night. There are three different colors of fright seeds packets you could get. This one here was a limited edition. There's a standard edition out now that doesn't, unfortunately, include the booklet. Indicator always gives out this. It also has an alternate artwork here, as you can see. Indicator always has like big booklets with their limited editions, and afterwards they'll put it on standard. You'll still get like all the features and stuff like that, but you'll just be missing the booklet. Uh, or say if there's a poster or something like that, that won't be there. But always ones to look into. Might as well go for the other Amicus when we're still here, right? Well, but this was a Severance that I was looking the other night when I was doing my complete Severance video. The night title limit. I need that one so bad, Vince. So Severin put out an Amicus box set, and it is gorgeous. I utterly love it. I wanted the T-shirt. I still want the T-shirt for it. So this is Asylum, written by Robert Bloch, and with again another amazing cast, as you can see right there: Peter Cushing, Brett Eklund, Herbert Lom, Patrick McGee, uh, Charlotte Rampling, Robert Powell, Richard Todd, and many more. Directed by Roy Ward Baker, who did a lot of Hammer stuff, and yeah, of course, like we said before, written by Robert Bloch. There's a lot of really, really good stuff in this one here, and it's super fun. Even like getting, I think, God, I'm looking at back. I think Barry Morris is in this too. I'm a big Space 1999 fan of The Fugitive, so I'm pretty sure Barry Morris. Unless I look up close sometimes. Getting older, eyesight's going, man. Yep, it is Barry Morris. Okay, so I knew Barry Morris was in this film. So the neat thing about this is if you get this and you don't realize it because it's got a black case, there's also an alternate artwork. So I will show you guys. So this is the artwork that I'm using right now. But this is the original artwork for Asylum. Hey there, Bill. How many? Thank you, Raya. How many films I have in my collection? I honestly don't know at this point. At one point, I was pretty sure it was kind of like it was teetering around a few years back, around the 5,000 or so mark, um, which I thought was a nice. Like, it was okay. But since then, I bought a lot, so I no longer know. Uh, so and I got rid of some too. Like some comes and goes, so I'm never quite sure. I wish that one of these days I'll know, and I'll be able to like come in here and say, I have these many films. But I'd have to scan them first, and that takes a heck of a long time. But Asylum is really fun. This may be one of my favorite wraparounds. Um, if you, my least favorite wraparound is from a movie that I got uh, called, and I don't have it over here right now, it's over there, The House that Dripped Blood, which is actually a really fun one. It's got like a lot of really fun, really cool stories, including a really good story with John Pertwee and Ingrid Pitt. That's always a standout. But the one thing that I didn't like about it, and the one thing that always bothered me about that film was I hated the wraparound. It was like the most boring wraparound out of almost all these here that I saw. So Ingrid Pitt is still a goddess, and you'd still have a better chance for her with her than I would. Vanessa, just saying. Would that be a watch pile, Brian? Do you have that on a watch pile? After Midnight. Actually, I was mentioned there earlier. Actually, by Brian, and it's one that I actually really like. I only have it on on DVD so far. I got it. I think I got an MGM release of After Midnight. I need to get the new release from Screen Factory. Uh, I'm guessing it's still in print. That's Screen Factory stuff because they print so much now. I'm never quite sure if it's in print or not. Speaking of Screen Factory, let me just grab a couple ones there because you guys mentioned a couple that I forgot to bring over, and I'll be right back. Come on, where you at? When you start these things, you sometimes forget a few. Forgot a few, and I got asked about these. So here we go. Over there in a box set called Twisted Terror Collection, I have From Beyond the Grave, which seems like it's an Amicus film, uh, but unfortunately, yeah, it is. Actually, it is an Amicus film. But Dirk just mentioned one that isn't. That a lot of people think is an Amicus film when they watch it. There's one called Tales of Witness Madness, and it is done by one of the Amicus guys. It has the feel of an Amicus film, with a little bit more blood and stuff than you would normally expect for Amicus, because Amicus really kept their things like PG-13 to get like the widest audience that they could possibly get. But Tales of Witness Madness is a really fun one. It has an odd story about a piano that I kind of dig for its kind of just weird off kilterness. But I definitely recommend checking it out. And I do need to grab the Blu-ray of that one. I still don't have Tales of Witness Madness. Um, but I've saw it so many times over the years, and it's one that I utterly adore. And I'm pretty sure Joan Collins is in Tales of Witness Madness. And for those who don't know, I had a huge crush on Joan Collins growing up. from movies that she did, like with from her sister Jackie Collins, a little movie called Homework, which almost nobody saw but me apparently, and a little TV series that everybody saw called Dynasty, which has been remade. So there you go, Tales of Witness Madness. Thank you for mentioning that one because it's a really good one. 1,000 is a good is a good amount, Rye. Uh, have I seen? Oh, let's go there. I'm guessing you mean Tales from the Dark Side, right? And autocorrect can be mean. Uh, Tales from the Dark Side is an excellent anthology film based on an excellent anthology TV series well, called Tales from the Dark Side. This is the real Creepshow 3. Forget, remember when they put out Creepshow 3, when that other company bought the rights to the name of Creepshow and Day of the Dead? Remember that happened? And then they put out these films that that should never have had the names Creepshow 3 and Day of the Dead on them. Remember those? I do. Werther remembers them. So, Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, is really, really well done. I'd forgotten how good this was. This, by the way, has an amazing documentary on it. A really long, like, really, uh, like, introspective documentary. The Pianos and Torture Garden? Is it really? Am I getting my Am I getting my Promato mixed up? Uh, Piano's Torture Garden, the one where the piano is. Are you for real? Which one has the tiger then? Which one has the invisible tiger? Is that Tails? Because one of them has an invisible tiger. I'm not, guys. For those that haven't seen this, I'm not making this up. These are things in these films. A piano that kind of moves on its own. That's jealous of like a new wife. A invisible tiger. Lots of interesting stuff in these films. But back to Tales from the Dark Side. This has a great story with an amazing wraparound. Um Deborah Harry is, of course, the kind of like the lead in the wraparound, alongside with Joey Lawrence's brother, I think. Pretty sure. But the cast in this is amazing. So you got Steve Buscemi and Christian Slater in the first story, along with I think Julianne Moore, one of her very first roles, one of her early roles, in this one here. The last story has some incredible actors, including James Remar and Ray Don Chong. Is it Ray Don Chong? Did I get the wrong? Yes, that's Ray Don Chong. The second story is kind of fun, and it's called The Cat from Hell. Witness Madness, that's Tiger. I'm getting confused. Thank you, Bill. Bill's here to straighten me out when I get it wrong. And trust me, guys, I've been doing a lot of these videos. I will get it wrong, and that's what you guys are here for. Will be my favorite boutique company. Uh, well, welcome, Rye Guy. Welcome, Rye Guy here, by the way, guys. We always do that when a new person comes in. Well, my Twitter handle and what I kind of got named about a year and a half to 2 years ago now was Mr. Vincent. So I do have like a strong like for stuff like Vinegar Syndrome and Severin titles, but I also collect Indicator, Arrow Video. Uh, I collect so many of them. Trust me, if you're new here, you're gonna get a lot of boutique labels and a lot of crossover on stuff, like a super amount. What's my favorite story on Tales? I go back and forth. But I'm gonna go with Lot 249. Although I really love Lover's Vow. It's a great one, and it's kind of based on a classic, like an Asian story, um, about this guy that's and they actually mention it on the in special features, about this guy that's sleeping in a barn with somebody else, and he sees this creature come in, like kind of like kills people, kind of takes men away, and the snow woman. Thank you, Amy. That's the one. He sees the snow woman, and basically She says, if do not tell anybody ever what I that you've seen me, and uh, and I will let you live. So if you want to find out what happens, watch this, because a very similar thing happens here, and he sees a man being killed by a gargoyle, and the gargoyle says, never tell anybody that you've seen me, and it is an amazing story. James Remar, who usually plays these kind of like villainous roles and kind of really dark, deeper, different roles, gets to play a very unique role for him. Oh yeah, the cat story is really fun. Like William Hickey, and of course, well, what would you call him? Dave Johansen, Buster Poindexter, right? Um, is in the cat story, and it's basically a simple tale about a man that has kind of he's angered this cat, and this cat is supposedly deadly, so he hires a hitman played by David Johansen to go out and like to go and kill this cat, and would like to get a tremendous amount of money if he kills the cat, which seems like kind of like comical and funny to Dave Johansen first. Have a great night, Vanessa, and hopefully I'll put more movies on your wish list. Have a good one. But it's not like in all these stories. Things are not what they seem, and not as easy uh, either. So since we talked about what literally is pretty much Creepshow 3, Creepshow, what a favorite of mine, and I like a lot of these films. I love these style of films. This is a lot of fun. I get asked a lot what my favorite story on this is. It's actually the one that you would probably not think. Um, my least favorite, although I like it, is Father's Day. I want my cake. But my favorite is The Lonesome Death of Geordie Verrill. It stars, well, pretty much just Stephen King, with like this one guy playing kind of his father and a kind of a scientist. I did not mention Qui Gon yet. I don't have Qui Gon actually, so that's why it's not here. But Qui Gon is amazing, one I truly love. But the Death of Geordie Verrill just it reaches out and like grabs the ham in me. Uh, the part of me that wanted to act would have loved to have played Geordie Verrill, uh, which would have been amazing because Geordie Verrill, you lone kid. I love that. It's such a fun one. All the stories here are great. I remember talking to Savani about like what some of his favorite work was, and he mentioned that Fluffy here in the crate part of Creepshow is one of the favorite things that he did because basically he does a lot of like kind of you know shotgun blasts and throat slits and all that type of stuff. So it was really nice for Sylvain to be able to come in and do make a monster to do like to create a creature, and he does that with Fluffy the Tasmanian Devil in the crate, which is a really good story. The one I like least that I got that is probably be honest with you is not Father's Day, but it's the one with E.G. Marshall because it's got a lot of cockroaches and I don't like insects, so there you go. By the way, if you live in Canada and you haven't picked this up yet, this this is $30 at your local Walmart right now. Tales from the Hood is amazing. The original Tales from the Hood is spot on, like literally like one of those perfect all the way through. I like Tales from the Hood every story, and I like the fact that does some. It really touches on issues that are hard to like just go out and talk about, whether it be like like the child abuse and stuff like that in one of the stories, but extremely well done. 35 at yours? Aren't you in Cat? You're in Canada, aren't you, Dave? This should be 30. Price check it. Go do the price checker. Because I've been to 3 Walmarts this week. I had to go pick up some stuff from my better half, so I've seen it around there. Exactly. So they shouldn't be trying to gouge you, man. It's Toronto. You got more stuff. You got bigger stuff. So they should, give you a better deal. Okay, so Creepshow 2. This is the 88 Films edition. I know a lot of people got the Arrow edition. I don't have the Arrow edition, but I do have this one. I think it's pretty cool. I like the fact that it has a different, unique artwork on the inside. This is the artwork that I think was on my Anchor Bay edition of Creepshow 2. Pretty much everybody's favorite story in Creepshow 2 is the same. It's the raft. Oh, Corman did amazing stuff. Tales of Terror. What's the other ones he did? He did. There's a couple he did for AIP. Hey there, Andrew. Welcome. We're talking anthologies. You missed some pretty cool ones at the beginning. We talked the early stuff like Torture Garden, all the Amicus stuff, and we even went way back into Dead of Night. But Creepshow 2 is fun. I mean, I like there was the tale of Chief Woodenhead too. That's actually pretty cool. The one that I didn't get into, uh, too much was a Hitchhiker one. A lot of people love the Hitchhiker like storyline. The whole hey lady, uh, thanks for the ride. But that's always been my least favorite. But it's one that I've super that's quoted. It's quoted more than any of them, and it's got Lois Charles in it from Moonraker. So there's that when it comes to that there. But the raft just really stood out. The raft definitely stood out for me. That's my favorite story, and I did like the fact that he had an animated wraparound. It was kind of neat. It was very EC Comics ish, and I'm guessing that's probably why they haven't been doing that with Creepshow, the TV series, which is on Shutter. Season 2, I think, should be coming up pretty soon. Um, because they don't want to go too much. They don't want Creepshow to seem too much like Tales from the Crypt, which is one of my favorite anthology TV series. And since I just mentioned it, might as well talk about it. These are two these are the two most famous ones that Amicus put out. Tales from the Crypt, based on the EC comics, but really it's a lot of like Vault of Horror, Haunted Fear stories more so than Tales from the Crypt stories. But it does use Tales from the Crypt name, and there is Sir Ralph Richardson playing the Crypt Keeper in this one here, and you get Vault of Horror. We got a good Tom Baker story in this one, by the way, and you actually do get some like some Tales from the Crypt stories here as well. Hey there, Flip. Welcome, man. Here at work. Hopefully your job is better than mine. That's not fair. I just get yelled at a lot this time of year, so it's nice to be de-stressed. Um, Vault of Horror has a lot of nods to the original. Hey there, Jason. Doing pretty good. That is a lot of work. You own a restaurant. If I'm ever in the area, I'm coming to your restaurant, man. I love restaurants. But Vault of Horror here has a lot of nods to Tales from the Crypt, even to, in one point, having like somebody reading the novelization of Tales from the Crypt, like in it. Who's on you? I'm definitely got. I mean, my better half. So there's some really cool stuff on here. Yeah, the blind. Oh God, that's a really good story. The Where the guy's like is taking care of like of like the home for the blind, and it's like I think it's like blind veterans and stuff like that that are there, and he's like slowly taking away a lot of their amenities. Like suddenly they're had no, good food, and now they're getting gruel and slop. The heat is being cut down. Electricity is being shut off at a certain hour. The heat's being cut down, so they're basically freezing there to the point where one of the men dies, and they decide that they're going to give a really cool, bloody revenge. And man, do they ever! Oh, have you not seen these, Chris? Chris, you got to get this ASAP. Uh, Va- Tales from the Crypt and Vault of Horror is amazing. It's this has like if you ever seen Tales from the Crypt the TV series, you're gonna see some of the episodes. something here. Like this has the original and All Through the Night. Um, what's it called? No, that's not what it's called. It's called something else. Maybe it's called an All Through the Night. I'm not quite sure. It's about the Killer Santa Claus one, where Joan Collins. Yes, we're back to Joan Collins again. What I count Two Lies as an anthology film. I would actually, if it's more than one story, I'm going to count it as an anthology film. Um, because there are two very different stories. The Killer Santa story is really good. Joan Collins is fed up with her husband, who she finds kind of boorish, and decides that on Christmas Eve, that's the time to get rid of him. So she offs her husband and gets ready to go and hide the body. And around that time, well, a killer escapes from a mental asylum, and he's kind of going around with a Santa Claus outfit that may not work well for her, since she has a kid that is waiting for Santa to come. There's a lot of really good stories on here, and on Vault of Horror, both these are excellent. I gotta say, I don't think for me there's like a bad story among the bunch on these here. There's some that like go work better than others. The Peter Cushing story. Hey there, Cinema Dave. I just mentioned you in your channel actually earlier in the video of Vanessa. Literally rips my heart out. I love Peter Cushing, and he's such a sweet guy, and he reminds me of my grandfather who's passed away. Uh, and Seeing the way that Peter Cushing is treated by this cruel, callous neighbor in Tales from the Crypt literally hurt me. Uh, but it is an amazing story. Hey there, Dungeon. This as far as Portmanteau's fourth anthology film goes. This one here should be headed towards the top of your list. Speaking of Vincent Price, From a Whisper to a Scream. From Whisper to a Scream was there you go. We got to it. It was one that was originally called Offspring, and that's the title that I saw it under, The Offspring. Was a neat little one, and it's an early film by Jeff Burr. Jeff Burr would go on to do a lot of different stuff, including Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, which is actually one of my favorite Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequels. Um, was also on here, which is extremely incredible, is a feature-length documentary about the making of From Whisper to a Scream called Return to Oldfield. The documentary, I actually reviewed the doc. I found the documentary on this disc so good that I reviewed it on its own. Oh yeah, trust me, Tom. I know Tom Baker from Vaughn Horror. I'm a huge Doctor Who fan, Bill. He did, and he does great as the artist in it. So when I reviewed the documentary on here, the people that made the documentary were nice enough to come on, and like nobody had seen my channel at this point. They'd seen the video, and they came on, and they actually were really sweet, and let me and like talk to me, and liked the video, and gave a really nice comment. So long before anybody knew that existed as a YouTube channel, that was really nice of them. Trick or Treat, I don't have it right now, but I do have it. I don't have the Scream Factor edition. I really got to get that. That's an amazing documentary. Sorry, amazing anthology film that everybody needs to own. The House That Dripped Blood. I mentioned this one earlier. My favorite story is the John Pertwee Ingrid Pitt story. And there is the beautiful Ingrid Pitt right there. Of course, we got the great Christopher Lee in this one here as well. We got a great cast in this one here too. You got Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, Denham Elliott, who's on the back here as well. Um, Ingrid Pitt, just so many. You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with them. You can't go wrong with Ingrid Pitt because Ingrid Pitt definitely kills it in this one here, and it's a really kind of comical story. This one here would have been in the 70s actually, the year that I was born, Andrew. So this is a 70s one. So if you want to find out how old I am, I'm as old as the house that dripped blood. So I'm getting up there. Oh no, these are all different. Like Hammer didn't really do anthology films. Amicus Dungeon like did a lot of the anthology films. So Amicus, you get like some done by other companies as well. Like these here are done by different companies. There's a lot of like Amicus stuff here though. And this one's definitely not Amicus. This is Nightmares. I really like this. This is a fun one. I love the first story, Nightmares. It's a classic urban legend story of the girl that gets into a car to go buy a pack of cigarettes on a night when an escaped mental patient is around, and as she's driving, there's a truck that's following her, and it's almost blinding her with the hot with the beams on its light, and she's pretty sure. Not a problem, Dirk. Have a great evening there, and hopefully I'll see you coming here again soon. Hopefully this isn't the last time, man. Oh yeah, we're doing like different studios. I'm not gonna. I'm doing an Amicus versus Hammer video down the road, so I'm saving some stuff for that. Yeah, they constantly escape in the movies. Um, your favorite story in the two, Jason? And basically, she's worried that that mental patient may be in that truck behind her, or maybe he's a bit closer than she thinks. This story, of course, was kind of used in the beginning of the movie Urban Legend. I don't think we have the director here tonight, but too bad actually, because he would like that. Because we've had Jamie Blanks in here sometimes, guys, who directed Urban Legend and Valentine, and really sweet guy. Nightmares. And last but not least for tonight, because again tonight is one of those hour-long videos that I'm doing lately. Uh, Adrenaline Fear, Adrenaline Fear, The Rush. Christopher Lambert, Natasha Henstridge, made by Albert Pion. I like Albert Pion actually. I think he's underrated. He's a fun director. Nemesis was cool, man. I like Nemesis. Trilogy of Terror. There's a different way to do it though. I'll go under a different criteria. I did the Amicus versus Hammer before, but I'm gonna get like with my dad. I'm gonna be doing it, so it's gonna be a bit more in depth. But Amicus does a lot more actually. Although there's a breadth of films for Hammer, Amicus does a lot more and some more prestige films than you actually really think too. So we'll get into those as well uh, during the video. But Trilogy of Terror we're gonna end off on tonight for the first like anthology film. And if you like this, we'll do another anthology film one in the future. And this is oh, you do need to get. I need to get the second one in ready. This one I need to get because this one, the first one started Karen Black. The second one had Lizette Anthony, of course, who played on, of course, the Dark Shadows series with the late Ben Cross. I agree. Uh, Cinema Dave, this is a great one. But is this? I love the creepiness of this cover too. But this one has some great stuff on it. There's a brand new audio commentary by Richard Harlan Smith on here. There's a new interview with composer Bob Colbert. Sorry. Uh, Audio commentary with Karen Black and writer Wim F. Nolan. Richard Matheson Terror Scribe featurette. Three Colors Black featurette. Limited edition booklet in here as well, by the way. So we'll actually open that up. See, this is around the time that they started doing booklets. Unfortunately, Karen Black did pass away a few years ago. She would fight like people when they say like, "Well, you made horror films," which is no, I made suspense films or thrillers. She would never like to. She never liked to say that she made horror films, which was a shame because she was really, really good in them, and she did quite a few. The Zuni doll one is usually what people remember. The Zuni fetish doll is what people remember the most about this one. But I thought all three stories were good and showed very, very different like aspects to her character. And Brian Goes Blue, you're right. Trilogy of Terror 2 is actually really good. It when I showed, and here's something to let you guys know, I love Trilogy of Terror, and it always just creeped me out when I was a kid. There was a second one, Dave, uh, and it was actually super cool. it started Lizette Anthony in all three stories. It did finish off with the Zuni doll story again. What the opening story with the rats was really really good and really creepy. And when I showed both Trilogy of Terror and Trilogy of Terror 2 back to back to my kids and to my better half, they both all of them preferred Trilogy of Terror 2 over the original. Uh, so just to let you guys know, um, they preferred the sequel to the original one. Ghost Story is one that's coming out soon that I need to get as well. And stigma, yeah, well, there's a stigma, but still, the stigma was pretty much gone by the time she was like. And let's not forget, like she also did like worked with Rob Zombie as well. So there's that too. Anyway, before I go tonight, I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I will shill it here as well because I will shamelessly shill. If you don't know, I was a show Ghost Story based on the movie. No, no, it's a very different thing. Ghost Story was like his own anthology thing. It started out originally being like narrated by Sebastian Cabot, who would actually be taken out of the show around halfway through. But it's a really fun one to watch, and it had like different titles. Like I think it was like Ghost Story Circle of Fear. So the titling changed like around part of the way through. Actually, as a guy that was going to go into acting, we do know genres. We really do. But as I mentioned at the beginning here, so if you weren't here before, I have a Patreon, and if you guys if that is something that you like support, uh, please do so. I put links every once in a while. And today, me and my better half, because my better half works with me on my Patreon account, so we shoot videos there together. Today, what we did was we did a live commentary. We did it in three parts for the L. Amson movie Dracula versus Frankenstein. You get to see us talk and joke and converse about like the actors and like the film and the themes behind the film on Dracula versus Frankenstein, and we had a blast doing it. And you're going to be getting like seeing a lot more of that stuff coming up, including some other videos and one coming up too, where I talked to her on the movie Trances because she is from Morocco, and the that kind of fusion music and that documentary means a lot to her, just like it meant a lot to Martin Scorsese. And so that is something coming up in the near future as well. So if you like kind of the higher brow stuff, well, you're gonna get that there as well. Please hit the like button if you like this video, and also feel free to share, subscribe, tweet the video, and uh, and check out the other stuff that's coming up there as well. For my already Crimson Cult members that have not yet seen the commentary videos that we did, we put up three that runs around 95 minutes long altogether. Oh, Patreon is basically Jason. Is basically as little as $1 to whatever you want to do, like $1 to $5 to $10. You choose whatever donation that you want. You're not, and I know a lot of patrons out there lock you in. You got to get to like a certain level, you got to get to $10 or $15 to hit like to be able to see all the content or be able to vote or anything like that. My Patreon doesn't do that. On my Patreon, like as little as $1 $2 level gets you in to like watch all the videos, vote on all the polls, comment that type of stuff. And coming up in the near future is a Patreon exclusive Facebook page for the Call to Cinema. So keep an eye out for that. We hope to in the future do a live commentary with our patrons as well. So anyway, guys, look forward to that in the near future. I am Aaron. This is my movie library. I am super hyped and hyper today because I've been working on videos all day long. So I'm also super exhausted. You, how do I organize my collection? Are are anthologies together? They aren't. I organize my collection by company, and often by alphabetically by company, or if they're numbered by numbers. If it's not by like a major company, then I will organize it by usually by like genre. And I also love Jack Palance's Dracula. It's underrated. I'll talk to you guys later. I am Aaron. You guys are the Cult of Cinema. You guys rock. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're on the Patreon thing too, thank you so much for that as well. Enjoy that video because we enjoyed making it, and a lot of laughing and stuff went on during the 95-minute long um, talk on Dracula versus Frankenstein. Have a great evening, guys, and I will see you soon. Until then, as Kubrick would say, may the cult be with you. Uh, for me, it's time for tea, and it's time for movies.